Good morning, Keith.
Good morning, Rick. Do you have a cup of Joe in your hand there?
I do. I'm just finishing. It's just to help me wake up a little bit. It's my chemical dependency that I'm so proud of.
Awesome, awesome.
Caffeine works for me.
Nice. I got a topic for you. Ready for it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You're not working on the outside, you're working on the inside.
Oh boy. Well, I guess my experience has been that I've had so much disappointment by being externally driven that I had no choice but to turn inside and figure out why I couldn't adjust properly to my life. I had so many things that I thought were not working because of externals that I was handicapped or sometimes frozen. And I thought the only way that I can get out of this is to look inside and see what I'm doing wrong. How am I processing what the world shows to me in a way that's dysfunctional or that creates obstacles for me? And as I started to get into that, I had many mentors, mostly authors. I mean, I didn't have many people to talk to. And frankly, I was embarrassed to talk to people about self-help because it required me to be vulnerable and to talk about my deficiencies and what things weren't working. And I couldn't afford it. I was, young and I had bills and college and all of that stuff. But I think starting in law school, I realized that unless I changed my ways and worked on myself, the world was going to eat me up. And particularly my practice, the law practice would eat me up because a trial lawyer's experience with humanity is basically dealing with the catalog of human misery. Whether it's defending criminals or it's trying to get justice for people who have been hurt, it can really jam at your head. So I think the idea for me was that it was a lifesaver. I had to go through something where I would monitor myself, catch myself every time I was blaming externals to try to figure out what it was that was wrong with me that kept looking at things in a way that was so negative. And what I realized about it was I had to let go of my expectations. I just wanted things to be a certain way. I wanted to be a winner. I wanted to be respected. I wanted to be well loved. I wanted to be, all of the things that turn out to be things if we strive for give you the opposite. And so for me, the idea of working on an inside job probably began almost 50 years ago, and it's still
Wow.
going on. I haven't gotten to the point where I can let it go. I still have to, I'm still struggling with how in the world you deal with externals that could be very defeating. How about you?
Yeah, what comes up for me is this whole idea of I guess I got wise to the fact that my life up until a certain point, maybe like 8, 9 years ago, was highs and lows. And I wanted to experience like consistent bliss. I wanted to have sustained joy in my life. And by being, externally driven, like you mentioned, or at the effect of things beyond my control, my expectations not being met, me thinking people in life should be a certain way, there was so many lows that came from that kind of approach to life. And I got tired of that. I really got tired of it. And what made me recognize how tired I was of it was when I was at a rock bottom moment. I disliked that so much. And I also disliked the idea of whenever I was experiencing a rock bottom moment, I knew that a high would come, but it wouldn't last. Like I knew that life ebbed and flowed like that, but it seemed to be that the lows that I experienced those longer. And then when I experienced a high, it didn't last as long. So whether it was in the form of intimacy, like it was a distraction from a low that I would return to and be with for a long period of time, I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to have something that would sustain joy. As Michael Singer says, I don't want anything I can't keep anymore. And so that's what I think of. I think like I need to work on myself so that when I experience something, I can experience it, consistently. It can be sustained. And what that meant was is giving up caring about what happened. like literally, like hard, easy to say, hard to do, at
Yeah,
least for the
that's
person
right.
itself. But more and more, I remind myself what's most important. If this idea is that I want to have a good time, experience joy and bliss, or see the meaning and purpose of every single moment, then if I that's what I want, then I have to give up working on the outside or trying to control what the externals and to focus on me being inside. If I can work on me being inside, I can start to literally see the joy, the beauty that's available in every moment. And
Mm.
you can say any trivial thing, like, somebody says something to me, or I get told off, right? To be able to lean back and let that pass by and me not ruin my day, not them, me not ruin my day by ruminating or blaming them or being upset with them. If I could do that, man, I could have a great day, right? I could literally have a great day if I did not let that phase me, right? And when I say let it pass by, not be indifferent to it or not fake it, but literally just make a conscious choice, like, oh, I'm not getting involved with that. like I'm completely letting that go. Like there's another choice here. Like I'm taking the A train this way. I'm not going that way. And I start to work on myself like that. And it was literally I have more sustained joy in the face of some things that would have crippled me and knocked me down before. So now I don't have these super highs. Like I'm having just as much fun now when I do something well, like a great shot on the pickleball court, or I get great feedback about something that I did. I have as much joy with those things. Uh, I have much joy with the latter of not getting any feedback or people telling me that my presentation was lacking and needs to be improved upon. I'm like, okay, now I got something to work on. Let me go and strengthen this. Like it becomes all about the work and not needing anything outside to feel validated or feel or made to feel enough. And that's been a game changer for me, Rick. And so
Mm.
I don't have all these highs. I mean, I'm just turned on by, I'm working on being turned on by everything. So I just so appreciate your perspective because I think in so many ways we are alike and we embrace these opportunities to really go deeper.
Yes, I think going deeper is the key. And part of what that involves is a trust. People, and particularly me, this was my case. I wanted to manipulate everything and try to make it work out in a way that made sense for me. And I usually had to do it because my ego required it. I wanted to look a certain way and act a certain way and have respect and all the rest of it. So that idea of behaving in a certain way required me to operate within a very narrow box, right? A very, very narrow way of living. And when I started to trust and and started to open up and realize that not knowing things, not knowing how an outcome would be, and developing a tolerance for life's ambiguity, when I developed that tolerance, that was that was a big, big step forward for me. And I realized not knowing is totally okay. You can't make certainty happen. You don't have that power. You can't make certainty happen. So not knowing is okay. And once I developed a relationship with ambiguity that allowed things to let go, that I allowed things to let go, my life improved at least 50%. And I continue to work on that. I think letting go and not being attached to the things we talked about before and not being driven by externals and so forth, not judging your situation. Those are things that come with that idea of not knowing and a tolerance for ambiguity. So I think you're right. You and I are both similar. We've come about it in different ways, but we've come to realize that the internal is where it's at, not the external. And we'll continue to suffer as long as we have the expectations that we're driven by our expectations that our ego requires us to follow. You let go of those and life improves.
I totally agree, Rick. Hey, I love you. Thank you so much for just great insights.
No, thanks, Keith. Thanks for including me. We'll see you next time. Love
See
you.
you next time. I love you too.